The deep black of space was silent as always, but silence in space could be deceptive. Far beyond the settled borders of the known empires, a shadow moved. It was vast, heavy, and yet it moved with quiet purpose. Scanners on distant colonies caught faint signs of it. A distortion of light, a ripple in the background of stars. No one could tell what it was, but every signal hinted that something enormous was traveling through the dark. In the council chambers of the Kalar Alliance, scientists argued over the strange readings. Some believed it was only a broken asteroid, drifting with metal inside. Others thought it might be a secret weapon sent by the rival Zurak Empire. Panic began to spread because no empire wanted to be caught unprepared. Even the trade guilds whispered about this unknown shape moving closer. On the other side of this mystery was a single human warship. It was a ship from Earth, a planet never listed in any galactic records. The humans had hidden themselves for many centuries, growing quietly, building slowly, and dreaming of reaching the stars beyond their sun. The ship was not an accident. It had been sent with care, with a clear goal. It carried explorers, scientists, and soldiers, all united in one mission: to step into the galaxy and to learn what lay beyond. Captain Daniel Carter stood in the command chamber of the ship. He was tall, calm, and carried himself with the weight of duty. His voice was steady as he gave orders to the crew, who worked with both excitement and caution. Among them was Claire Morgan, the ship's navigator who watched the stars with sharp eyes. Ethan Ross, the chief engineer, spent his days deep in the core of the vessel, making sure its engines hummed without flaw. Sophia Davis, the ship's communication officer, tried to catch every signal in the void, hoping to make sense of the strange patterns around them. For many of the crew, this was the first time leaving the safety of Earth's hidden colonies. Each star they passed filled them with wonder but also with unease. Daniel knew they carried not just themselves but the hope of their world. He told them often, "We are not only travelers, we are a message." His words stayed with them, even when doubts rose in their hearts. Unknown to them, their presence was already sending waves of fear across alien civilizations. The warship was large, larger than most fleets were used to seeing. Its design was sharp and strong, made to defend but also to endure. Scanners from other races failed to read its systems, making it seem even more mysterious. What could not be understood was always feared. Inside the ship, life continued with routine. Claire plotted the next course. "Captain," she said, pointing at the star charts glowing before her, "we are heading toward a system that shows signs of advanced settlements." Daniel nodded. "Then that is where we must go. It is time someone knows who we are." Sophia frowned as she listened to faint signals. "The languages are unlike anything we trained for. I can catch fragments, but it will take time to build proper translation." "We have time," Daniel said softly. "We must show patience. The galaxy has waited this long without us. It can wait a little more to hear us speak." In the engineering decks, Ethan wiped his hands on a cloth stained with grease. He had been awake for 2 nights, making sure the reactor cores stayed balanced. "She's a fine ship," he muttered to his assistant. "But she's not invincible. If trouble comes, we'll hold as long as we can. But I hope trouble does not come." Days turned to weeks as the warship moved through regions no human had ever entered. Sometimes they crossed the trails of alien cargo ships. Sometimes they passed derelict ruins of old battles, metal bones drifting among the stars. Sophia recorded everything. Claire marked each system. Daniel kept his mind on the mission, though he could feel the pressure grow heavier with every jump. In faraway halls of alien power, fear was turning into preparation. The Zurak Empire held secret meetings. Their generals whispered that the unknown ship might be a weapon designed to conquer. They called it the Shadow Ship. The Kalar Alliance debated sending a fleet to stop it before it came too close. Even the neutral Arvan traders began to arm their vessels, something they had not done for centuries. No one thought to ask what the ship truly was. They only assumed danger. Back inside the human warship, Claire noticed the patterns on her charts. "Captain, the other ships we pass are changing their paths when they see us. They are avoiding us," Sophia added, "and the signals I catch, they are sharp, alarmed. I think they are warnings. They are talking about us." Ethan entered the command chamber, his face marked with worry. "If they are this afraid already, Captain, they may strike before we can even speak." Daniel stood silent for a long moment. He looked at the faces of his crew, all waiting for his answer. "Then we must hold to who we are. We did not come here to conquer. We came to show that humans have stepped into the galaxy. They may fear us, but we will not give them reason to hate us," Claire whispered. But what if they attack anyway? Daniel turned his gaze to the endless stars. Then we endure. We will defend ourselves, but we will not be the ones to start a war. Those words settled over the crew like a promise. Each of them knew the risk. They were far from Earth, surrounded by the unknown, and carried the weight of being the first of their kind seen in these reaches. Yet none of them spoke of turning back. They pressed on because they understood the importance of their mission. The ship sailed quietly, its engines glowing like a new star against the black. The galaxy had detected it, but none yet understood the truth. It was not a weapon sent to destroy nor a shadow to fear. It was a message, carried by humans who had finally stepped beyond their hidden corner of space. But for now, the galaxy only saw the size of the warship, not the hearts of those inside. And so the tension grew. One ship, silent and vast, moved steadily toward the worlds of other races. Whispers turned into fear. Fear turned into plans, and plans would soon turn into action. But for the humans on board, the journey was only beginning. Fear spread through the galaxy like fire across dry grass. In every council chamber, in every market hall, and in every military outpost, the whispers were the same. An unknown ship was moving through space, and no one could stop it. It was bigger than anything they had seen, and it traveled with steady direction, not like a wandering rock or a drifting relic. It was alive, and it was coming closer. In the Zurak Empire, the Emperor sat with his generals. Their maps glowed with red lines marking the path of the warship. "It is moving toward our borders," one general said, his voice sharp with fear. "We do not know its weapons, but its size alone suggests danger." The Emperor frowned. "If it belongs to our rivals, we will be caught unprepared. If it is a new power, we may lose our control. We must act before it is too late." In the Keelar alliance, the leaders argued endlessly. "We should send peace envoys," one suggested. "We should strike now," another shouted. "No," a third voice said. "We should wait and watch." Their debates grew heated, but no decision came. Their fear made them weak, unable to agree, unable to move as one. In the Arvan trade networks, merchants spoke in hushed tones. "The shadow ship will destroy trade routes," they said. "Already some freighters avoid the systems where it passes. Profits are falling. If war begins, we will all lose." But though they spoke of loss, none dared approach the vessel. All the while, the human warship moved forward, unaware of the deep fear it caused. Inside, life was calm but tense. Captain Daniel Carter walked the bridge with slow steps, his eyes always on the star maps. Claire Morgan adjusted their course carefully, keeping them steady. Sophia Davis listened to streams of alien signals, struggling to shape words from strange tongues. Ethan Ross kept the engines running smooth, but even he felt the weight of silence pressing in. Sophia broke the quiet one day. "Captain, the signals are changing. They sound more urgent now. I think they are warnings, maybe even calls for fleets to gather." Claire glanced at her, worry on her face. "They are afraid of us. We have not spoken to them, and already they think we are enemies." Ethan muttered from his corner. "Fear makes people dangerous. If they think we are a threat, they may strike before we get the chance to explain." Captain Daniel stopped and looked at his crew. "Then we must make the choice clear. We are not here to fight, but if attacked, we will defend ourselves. Until then, we hold our course." Outside the ship, rumors grew stronger. Some said the shadow ship was filled with monsters who devoured worlds. Others claimed it carried weapons that could burn stars. In some places, children were told to stay indoors in case the shadow ship came for them. Fear became part of daily life. The first real test came when the human warship crossed close to a mining colony controlled by the Zurak Empire. The miners saw the giant shape drift past their skies. Alarms sounded. Zurak patrol ships rushed in, circling like predators. Sophia caught their signals. "Captain, they are calling for us to identify. They sound hostile." Daniel stood tall. "Open a channel. Let them see us, let them hear us." Sophia's fingers danced over the console, and soon a voice filled the bridge. It was deep, rough, full of command. "Unknown vessel, you have entered Zurich space. Declare your origin or face destruction." Daniel spoke slowly with calm. "We are humans from a world called Earth. We mean no harm. We travel to learn and to meet others of the galaxy." Silence followed, then the voice returned, sharper. "Earth? No such world exists. Your lies fool no one. Lower your defenses or we will open fire." Claire whispered, "They do not believe us." Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Because they do not know us yet. But they will." The Zurich patrol ships tried to scan the human warship, but their scanners failed. The human ship's design was too advanced. Its systems shielded in ways the Zurak had never seen. The failure only fed their fear. "Captain, Sophia said softly. Their commanders are growing more agitated. They may attack. Daniel shook his head. Hold position. Do not fire unless fired upon. For hours, the standoff lasted. Zurek ships circled, weapons ready. The human warship floated silent, calm, unyielding. Finally, the Zurak patrol pulled back, leaving with angry words. But their report to their empire was filled with fear. The shadow ship is powerful beyond measure, they wrote. It cannot be scanned, it cannot be threatened. It is a danger to us all. This report spread like storm winds. Soon every corner of the galaxy spoke not just of the shadow ship, but of the humans inside. Though the humans had done nothing, their silence and their size made them a symbol of dread. Fleets began to prepare. Councils planned alliances. The galaxy trembled at the thought of war. Inside the human ship, the crew felt the pressure. Claire asked one evening, Captain, how long can we go on like this? They fear us more each day. We cannot hide forever, Sophia added. We should try to speak to them again. If they keep hearing only rumors, the fear will destroy any chance at peace. Ethan sighed. Or maybe they won't listen no matter what we say. Maybe they've already decided what we are. Daniel stood quietly, his face unreadable. Finally, he said, Fear can blind, but it can also be healed. We must keep trying. The galaxy has not seen us before, but we will not let their first sight of us be one of blood. Outside, however, the alien races made their own choices. The Zurak Empire built fleets and sharpened their weapons. The Kalar Alliance debated forming a united army for the first time in centuries. The Arvan traders hired private guards for their convoys. And across the galaxy, one message rang again and again. The humans are coming. Yet on the human ship, Daniel and his crew held to their course, unaware of how quickly the galaxy's fear was hardening into something much darker. The galaxy had reached its breaking point. Every empire now watched the path of the human warship. It was no longer a whisper or a rumor. It was real. And it was coming closer to the centers of power. Fleets were called to gather. Messages of fear and anger filled the stars. To many, the ship was already an enemy, though it had not fired a single shot. Inside the human vessel, the crew felt the pressure growing heavier. Sophia Davis listened to endless streams of signals. Her eyes were tired, her voice low as she reported. Captain, there is more movement out there. Fleets are forming. They are talking about us in every language I can detect. Captain Daniel Carter stood at the main screen, his hands behind his back. They prepare for what they fear. We cannot change their hearts in a day. Claire Morgan adjusted the navigation map. Captain, our current course will take us near a Zurak-controlled system. Their fleet movements are heavy. We may not avoid them this time. Daniel's voice was calm. Then perhaps the time has come. We cannot hide forever. Ethan Ross, who had been silent, leaned against the console. If they want a fight, they'll get one. But I would rather not test how long we can hold against an entire fleet. We will not fire first, Daniel said. If they force us, we defend. But no one will say that humans began the war. As the ship entered the Zurak system, the tension thickened. Sensors lit up with contacts. Dozens of Zurak warships appeared on the edges of the screen. Their formation was sharp, their intent clear. The human warship slowed, drifting steady into their midst. Sophia spoke quickly. Incoming hail. They demand identification. Daniel gave a small nod. Open channel. On the screen appeared the face of the Zurak commander. His skin was dark blue, his eyes narrow and burning with suspicion. His voice came deep and commanding. Unknown vessel. You enter Zurak territory with no right. Identify or be destroyed. Daniel's tone was steady, respectful. We are humans from a world called Earth. We come with peace. This is our first journey beyond our home. We mean no harm. The Zurak commander leaned forward, his eyes sharp. Earth? There is no record of such a place. Lies will not save you. Lower your defenses. Surrender your ship, Sophia whispered to Daniel. Their scans cannot read us. It makes them think we hide weapons. Daniel kept his gaze on the commander. We cannot lower our defenses. Not because we seek battle, but because this ship carries lives. But know this, we have no wish to fight. We came to learn, not to conquer. The commander's face hardened. Words mean little. We will test your truth. The screen went dark. An instant later, Zurak ships moved into attack formation. Alarms rang across the human vessel. Claire's fingers tightened on the navigation controls. Captain, they are locking weapons. Hold steady, Daniel ordered. No fire until they strike. Beams of light shot from the Zurak fleet, slamming into the shields of the human warship. The ship shook but held strong. Ethan's voice came through the comms. "Shield stable. They hit us hard, but we can take more." "Return fire," Daniel said at last, his voice firm. "Disable only. No killing unless there is no choice." The human warship answered with precision. Its weapons lit the void, striking not at the cores of enemy ships but at their engines and weapons arrays. One by one, Zurak vessels spun out of control, disabled but not destroyed. In minutes, half the Zurak fleet drifted powerless. Sophia's eyes widened. "Captain, they are stunned." "They did not expect such control," Claire added. "They do not know what to do. Their scans cannot read us, and now their weapons cannot stop us." Another hail came. The Zurak commander reappeared, his face pale with shock. You could have destroyed us all. Why did you not finish it?" Captain Daniel's gaze was calm. "Because we are not here to kill. We defend nothing more." The commander's silence stretched long. Then, without another word, the Zurak fleet pulled back. The screen went dark again. Sophia let out a breath she had been holding. That could have been war. Daniel shook his head. "It already is in their hearts. But perhaps today showed them something they did not expect." The standoff with the Zurak spread across the galaxy within hours. Fleets everywhere studied the reports. The humans had stood against one of the strongest empires and had not only survived, but held back without bloodshed. To some, this was proof the humans were wise and disciplined. To others, it was proof they were too powerful to be allowed to live. In the Kalar Alliance, a council leader spoke with fear. "If they can defeat Zurak fleets with such ease, what chance have we? We must unite before they reach us." In the Arvan Trade Guild, merchants whispered, "They did not destroy their attackers. Perhaps they are not monsters. But can we trust them?" Meanwhile, aboard the human ship, the crew gathered in the mess hall. Their voices were low, their faces thoughtful. Claire spoke first. "We showed them mercy, and yet they may still see us as a threat." Ethan shrugged. "Mercy or not, power always scares people." "We may never change that." Sophia looked at Daniel. "Captain, do you think they will ever trust us?" Daniel paused before answering. "Trust is not built in one meeting or one battle. It takes time. And time is what we must give, even if the galaxy fears us. We cannot force them to believe. We can only live by the truth of who we are." Outside, the galaxy boiled with fear and doubt. But for the first time, a new thought also began to spread. Maybe the humans were not here to conquer. Maybe they were something different. It was a fragile idea, but it was enough to make some pause before calling for war. The human warship moved on, its journey not yet done. The crew carried the weight of what had happened, but also the hope that the galaxy would learn. They knew the road ahead would not be easy. Fleets would still gather, councils would still argue, and weapons would still be aimed at them. But they also knew they had planted a seed of truth. Humans had come, and they were more than the galaxy had feared. The news of the Zurak standoff reached every corner of the galaxy. Stories twisted and changed as they spread. Some said the humans were merciful warriors, powerful but disciplined. Others insisted the mercy was only a trick, a way to lull the galaxy into lowering its guard. Fear and hope mixed together, but fear always carried the louder voice. In the councils of the Kalar Alliance, leaders argued day after day. The humans defeated Zurak ships without killing. "Perhaps they seek peace," one said. Another shouted back. "Or perhaps they are only showing restraint until their fleets arrive. We cannot wait to find out." Their endless debates showed how divided they were, yet their fleets began to gather anyway. In the Zurak Empire, shame burned hotter than fear. Their commander had returned alive but humiliated. He told his emperor, "They held back. They could have destroyed us, but they did not." The emperor's face twisted in rage. "Then they mock us with their power. No empire can live under such insult. We will destroy them, even if it takes every ship we have." The Zurak began to forge new plans of attack, drawing other frightened empires to their side. In the trade guild of the Arvan, merchants muttered in quiet halls. The humans do not act like conquerors. They may be a chance for new trade, new routes, new profit. But even they dared not reach out, not while fleets prepared for war, aboard the human ship. The crew lived with the weight of knowing their every move was watched. Sophia Davis worked day and night collecting fragments of alien transmissions. She pieced together words, phrases, meanings. Sometimes she smiled at small victories, but mostly her face was tired, her eyes shadowed with worry. "Captain," she told Daniel one evening, "they talk of us like we are a storm coming to swallow them. They cannot see us for what we are." Claire Morgan stared at the star map. "They will never believe until they see with their own eyes. Words are not enough. Ethan Ross crossed his arms, leaning against the wall. They don't want peace. They want safety. And to them, safety means us gone. Captain Daniel Carter listened in silence. His crew looked at him, waiting for an answer. Finally, he said, "Then we must give them a choice. We show them strength, but we hold to mercy. If we abandon mercy, then we become what they already believe we are." The next weeks were filled with tension. Fleets shadowed the human warship, never attacking but never leaving. The humans could feel the eyes of the galaxy on them, like predators circling prey they feared and hated at once. One night, Sophia caught a signal unlike the others. She rushed to Daniel. "Captain, this is different. It is not military. It is a record old, buried in the transmissions of the Killar. I think it speaks of us." He leaned over the console as she played the message. It was broken and faint, but the meaning was clear. Long ago, ancient probes from alien civilizations had passed near Earth. They had seen signs of humanity, but the findings were dismissed, lost in archives. The message called humans a people of fire, restless and dangerous. Claire frowned. "So they knew of us before. They just chose to ignore it." Ethan shook his head. "Not ignore. They feared even then. They buried the truth because they didn't want to face it," Sophia whispered. "And now that we are here, they believe their fear has come alive." Daniel straightened. "Then we must break that old story. We must show them that fire can warm as well as burn." His chance came sooner than expected. A coalition fleet, formed of Zurak ships and their allies, set a trap near the edge of a nebula. The human warship entered the field, and dozens of enemy vessels surrounded them. Beams of light flashed without warning, striking shields, shaking the ship. "They are trying to cripple us," Ethan shouted over the alarms. "This is no test. This is an ambush." Claire gritted her teeth as she steered hard to avoid the worst of the fire. "They mean to end us here, Captain." "Return fire," Daniel ordered. Same orders as before. "Disable, not destroy." The human weapons lit the darkness, cutting with precision. Zurak ships spun away, engines shattered, weapons broken. Ally ships faltered as their systems shut down, powerless against the human vessels' focused strikes. In less than an hour, the coalition fleet lay crippled around the nebula, none destroyed but none able to continue. Silence filled the human bridge. Sophia's hands trembled as she reported, "Captain, they are stunned. Their channels are filled with disbelief. They do not understand why we have not finished them." Ethan's voice was low, rough. "We had the chance to crush them, but we didn't. Now they will have to ask themselves why." Claire looked at Daniel. "But will they see mercy or will they see arrogance?" Daniel's gaze was steady. "That choice is theirs. We can only show them who we are. The rest is not ours to control." The defeated fleet limped away, carrying stories of the human ship's power and its restraint. These stories reached the galaxy even faster than before. Some leaders called the humans fools for sparing their enemies. Others whispered that such mercy was more dangerous than cruelty, for it meant the humans had nothing to fear. But among the common people of the galaxy, the story sounded different. In marketplaces, in homes, and on the streets, voices spoke of humans as warriors who refused to kill, travelers who carried strength but chose not to use it for conquest. A seed of respect began to grow, fragile but real. Aboard the warship, the crew sat together in the quiet of the mess hall. Sophia spoke first, her voice tired but thoughtful. "Every battle we win without blood makes them question the stories they tell about us." Ethan shook his head. "Or it makes them hate us more for making them look weak." Claire sipped her drink, her eyes distant. "Both can be true, but in time one truth will outlive the other." Daniel listened to them all, then said softly, "We walk a hard road, but it is the road we must walk. If we fall to anger, if we let fear guide us, then we prove them right. And if we hold steady, if we show mercy, then perhaps one day they will see the truth." As the ship moved forward, its course unbroken, the galaxy wrestled with its own fear. Councils plotted, fleets gathered, but in quiet places a new thought began to spread. Maybe the humans were not destroyers. Maybe they were something the galaxy had never seen before. And that thought, though faint, was enough to change everything. The galaxy had learned of the humans' arrival, and the stories of their power and restraint spread faster than any fleet could move. Fear still lingered in the hearts of many, but curiosity and awe began to grow. Leaders debated what to do. Merchants wondered how to trade, and common people spoke quietly of the humans who had entered their space without war. Aboard the human warship, Captain Daniel Carter observed the galaxy's reaction. He and his crew had passed through the shadows of fear and had seen the first sparks of understanding. Yet he knew the work was not finished. They had to show who they truly were, not just through battle but through their choices and actions. Claire Morgan stood beside him, pointing to the navigation chart. "Captain, our path takes us into sectors controlled by empires who have not yet met us. Their fleets are ready, their eyes upon us. They may act before understanding us." Daniel nodded. "Then we proceed with care. Our mission is still to explore, to learn, and to show the galaxy the truth of humanity." Sophia Davis added, "I have intercepted communications. Some are calling for diplomacy. They want to meet humans to know why we act as we do. It is a small hope, but it grows." Ethan Ross, ever practical, muttered, "Small hope or not, we cannot control what they do. Fleets will still come, and we must be ready." As the warship moved through these new sectors, it encountered the first genuine attempts at contact. A small convoy of Keelar ships approached, their commanders wary but cautious. Their leader hailed the human vessel, voice careful, "Humans of Earth we wish to meet. We have watched your deeds and your mercy. We seek dialogue." Daniel smiled faintly. "Then let us speak, not as enemies but as neighbors. We have come to learn and to share knowledge, not to conquer." The meeting was tense but peaceful. Representatives from both sides exchanged stories, spoke of their worlds, their hopes, and their fears. Sophia translated every word carefully, bridging the gap between languages and cultures. By the end, the Keelar officers had seen humans not as monsters, but as beings of discipline and thought, capable of great power and great restraint. News of the successful dialogue spread quickly. Empires who had prepared fleets to meet the human warship with fire paused. Some sent envoys of their own, hoping to understand the newcomers. The galaxy began to realize that humans were not only powerful, but wise in the use of that power. However, not all were ready to accept this truth. The Zurek Empire, smarting from previous encounters, still prepared fleets to strike. They believed humans were testing the galaxy, that mercy would give way to domination when humans saw weakness. Their plans were meticulous, but the humans, ever observant, knew when danger was brewing. Captain Daniel gathered his crew. "We must be ready," he said. "Our strength will be tested, but we will respond only when necessary. The galaxy may still fear us, but it is not our task to fight them because of fear alone. We fight only when survival demands it." Claire nodded. "We have already shown mercy. Now we show caution. We hold our course and stay true to our mission." Ethan checked the engines one last time. "We can hold against any fleet, Captain. It is their choice whether to attack or not." As the warship moved on, humans encountered fleets prepared for battle but willing to negotiate. Each encounter strengthened the reputation of the human race. Their actions were consistent: defense when attacked, mercy when able, and always a focus on understanding and learning. Sophia recorded every signal, every dialogue, knowing that this would be the first history of humans in the galaxy. Soon, whispers changed to stories. People spoke of humans as warriors who could destroy worlds but chose not to, as explorers who traveled far to learn, and as teachers who offered guidance without force. Children drew pictures of the human warship, imagining it not as a weapon but as a protector. Traders spoke of new routes and alliances that could enrich all civilizations. Even the Zurek began to reconsider. Their fleets moved with caution, testing humans but never fully attacking. They sent envoys to meet and to learn, realizing that humans had strength without malice. The Empire began to understand, too late for some of the planning that had once aimed to destroy, that humans were not invaders but a new force, balancing power with wisdom. Aboard the warship, the crew reflected on their journey. Claire said softly, "We came to explore, and now we have shown them who we are. Still, the galaxy may take time to fully understand." Sophia nodded. "But they will remember. Every fleet that watched us, every council that debated our actions, will know we are not like others they have faced," Ethan added with a rare smile. "And we did it without killing anyone who did not force our hand. That is something worth noting." Daniel looked at each of them, pride and hope in his eyes. "Humans have come to the galaxy. We carry our strength, our will, and our wisdom. Some may fear us, some may envy us, but all will know that we act with purpose, not cruelty. And that is the truth too late for those who would have struck first." The warship moved on into the stars, not as a shadow, not as a conqueror, but as a promise that humans had arrived, and that they would shape the galaxy with power tempered by restraint, with courage guided by wisdom, and with the hope that one day, all civilizations might see humans for what they truly were. The galaxy had detected a human warship, And the truth revealed itself. Humans were not a threat born of greed or conquest. They were a force to be reckoned with, yes, but a force that could choose mercy over destruction, learning over fear, and hope over hatred. And in that choice, the galaxy learned its first lesson of humanity. Strength without cruelty is the most powerful force of all.